They said the Korean CEO couldn't fall in love, but she enchanted him without trying. The coffee was cold. Chinma noticed it the moment the porcelain cup touched her lips, but she didn't complain. Complaining would draw attention, and attention was the last thing a junior marketing assistant should attract in the executive dining room of Quantum Industries. She'd only been sent here because her supervisor, Ms. Park, had food poisoning. Someone needed to present the Q4 campaign mock-ups to CEO Kang Minho, and somehow, that someone had become her. Chinma straightened her blazer, checked her presentation folder for the 7th time, and tried to ignore the way everyone in the room seemed to orbit around one man. Kang Minho sat at the head of the table like ice given human form. His black suit was flawless, his posture rigid, his expression carved from marble. At 32, he was Korea's youngest self-made tech billionaire, and according to every article Chinma had nervously Googled last night, he was also Korea's most eligible bachelor who showed absolutely no interest in dating, relationships, or anything remotely romantic. The Ice Prince of Daegu, they called him. The CEO without a heart. Miss Okafor. His voice cut through her thoughts like a blade through silk. You're here to present the Q4 campaign? Chinma's heart stuttered. He was looking directly at her, his dark eyes unreadable. Yes, sir. Miss Park is ill, so I'll be presenting in her place. Proceed. No warmth. No encouragement. Just that single word, delivered with the emotional temperature of a January morning. Chinma stood, her hands steadier than she'd expected. She'd worked on this campaign for 3 months, pouring everything she had into it. If she was going down, she'd go down fighting. Quantum Industries has always positioned itself as a tech company, she began, clicking to her first slide. But our consumer research shows that your customers don't see technology, they see possibility. They see the future becoming present. Kang Minho's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his posture. He was listening. Our campaign proposal is built around a single question. What if tomorrow started today? Chinma's voice grew stronger. We're not selling smartphones or AI assistants. We're selling the moment when a grandmother video calls her grandson across the world. The moment when a student in a rural village accesses the same education as someone in Daegu. Stop. Chinma's breath caught. Around the table, executives exchanged glances. Kang Minho stood, moving toward the presentation screen with deliberate steps. He studied her mock-ups in silence, and Chinma watched his jaw tighten almost imperceptibly. This, he said, pointing to her central image, a photograph of an elderly Korean woman laughing while using a tablet. Where did you get this? I took it, sir. Chinma's voice came out smaller than she intended. At a community center in Dongdaemun. I wanted authentic moments, not stock photos. You took it yourself? For the first time, something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, perhaps. Or interest. Yes, sir. I spent 2 weeks at various community centers and schools. I wanted to understand how real people experience technology, not how we think they should experience it. Kang Minho turned to face her fully, and Chinma felt the weight of his attention like a physical force. Marketing assistants don't typically conduct their own field research. No, sir. But I thought maybe we'd been making campaigns for the people we imagine instead of the people who actually exist. Silence crashed through the room. Then Kang Minho did something nobody expected. He smiled. It was brief, barely there, gone in an instant like sunlight through storm clouds. But Chinma saw it, and her heart did something complicated in her chest. Everyone out, he said quietly. Except Miss Okafor. The exodus was immediate. Executives filed out with barely concealed curiosity, and suddenly Chinma was alone with the Ice Prince of Daegu. Sit, Kang Minho commanded, returning to his seat. Chinma obeyed, her mind racing. Tell me about the woman in the photograph, he said. The one laughing. Mrs. Choi. Chinma blinked at the unexpected question. She's 73. She was learning to use video chat so she could see her daughter in Canada. When she finally connected and saw her granddaughter for the first time in 2 years, Chinma's voice softened. She cried. And then she laughed. It was the most genuine moment I've ever witnessed. Kang Minho stared at her, and Chinma couldn't read his expression. You stayed for 2 weeks. At community centers. Yes, sir. Why? Chinma met his gaze, surprised by her own boldness. Because numbers don't tell you why people buy things. I wanted to see the moment when technology stops being scary and starts being magical. For a long moment, Kang Minho said nothing. Then he opened his laptop, typed briefly, and turned the screen toward her. It was a photograph. Black and white, slightly faded. A young boy, maybe 10 years old, sitting at an ancient computer in what looked like a library. His face was illuminated by the screen, his expression pure wonder. That's me, Kang Minho said quietly. 22 years ago. A library in Busan. It was the first time I touched a computer. The librarian stayed late 3 nights a week for 6 months teaching me to code. He paused. She said technology could change my life. She was right. Chinma stared at the photograph, then at Kang Minho, and suddenly saw past the ice. She saw a boy who'd become what he was because someone had shown him possibility. That's what your campaign captured, Kang Minho continued. That moment. Every agency I've worked with tries to sell luxury, innovation, status. You're trying to sell hope. I thought that's what quantum was really offering, Chinma said softly. Hope dressed up as technology. Kang Minho closed his laptop with careful precision. Your campaign is approved. Full budget. You'll present it yourself at the board meeting next week. I'll have my assistant transfer you to the executive marketing team. Effective immediately. Sir, I'm just an assistant. Ms. Park should. You created it. You'll present it. He stood, buttoning his jacket. The board will be brutal. They'll tear your ideas apart just to see if you can defend them. I can defend them, Chinma said. Because they're not just ideas. They're real. They're true. Kang Minho studied her for a long moment. What brought you to Korea, Miss Okafor? The question caught her off guard. My grandmother. She was Korean. She met my grandfather when he was studying in Daegu in the 70s. When she died 3 years ago, she left me enough money to come here. To see the Korea she loved. And you stayed. I fell in love with it, Chinma admitted. The way she did. The way tradition and innovation exist side by side. Something shifted in Kang Minho's expression. Your grandmother sounds like she was remarkable. She was, Chinma whispered. She taught me that the best way to honor someone is to see the world through their eyes. The board meeting arrived like Judgment Day. Chinma stood before 12 powerful executives, all older, all looking at her with expressions ranging from curiosity to open skepticism. Chairman Huang, a man in his 60s with a reputation for destroying unprepared executives, sat directly across from where she'd be presenting. Kang Minho sat at the head of the table, his expression unreadable. For the first 10 minutes, it went perfectly. Her slides were clear, her data strong. Even Chairman Huang leaned forward, paying attention. Then she reached the emotional core of the campaign. The photographs. The stories. Stop. Chairman Huang's voice cut through her presentation. This is a technology company, not a greeting card company. You're asking us to build a campaign around feelings. I'm asking us to build a campaign around truth, Chinma said, keeping her voice steady. People don't buy technology for features. They buy it for what it enables. Connection. The ability to bridge distance and time. That's not a greeting card sentiment, Chairman Huang. That's why quantum exists. Bold words from someone who's been with this company for less than a year, Huang shot back. What do you know about Korean consumers? I know that adoption rates for people over 60 lag significantly behind younger demographics. Not because older Koreans don't want technology, but because we haven't shown them why it matters to their lives specifically. She clicked to a new slide. This is Mrs. Choi. Before she learned to use video chat, she spoke to her daughter once a week by phone. Now she video calls 3 times a week. Her daughter bought her a quantum tablet. Then her daughter bought quantum phones for the whole family so the video quality would be better. Chinma looked directly at Chairman Huang. That's one customer who became 5 customers because we didn't just sell her a product. We sold her connection to her family. Multiply that across Korea's aging population, and this campaign isn't just emotionally resonant. It's a massive untapped market. The room went silent. Chairman Huang leaned back in his chair. And you gathered this data yourself? Yes, sir. 2 weeks of field research. He looked at Kang Minho. Your thoughts, CEO Kang? I think Ms. Okafor has identified a market segment we've been ignoring, Kang Minho said, his voice carrying absolute authority. I think her approach is more data-driven than our previous campaigns because it's based on observed behavior, not assumptions. I'm approving the full budget. Chairman Huang studied Chinma for a long moment. Then he nodded. Welcome to Quantum's executive marketing team, Ms. Okafor. Don't make me regret this. After the meeting, several board members stopped to congratulate her. Chairman Huang actually shook her hand. Only Kang Minho remained seated, reviewing something on his tablet. Chinma approached hesitantly. Sir, I wanted to thank you. You earned it, he said without looking up. The campaign launches in 6 weeks. You'll report directly to me. Weekly meetings, Mondays at 9. Yes, sir. He finally looked up, and Chinma caught her breath at the intensity in his eyes. That was brave. What you said to Chairman Huang. You told me he respected conviction. I did. Kang Minho stood. You have potential, Ms. Okafor. Don't waste it by playing it safe. The next 6 weeks blurred past in a storm of preparation. Chinma worked endless hours, coordinating photographers, copywriters, and designers. She barely slept, surviving on coffee and determination. And every Monday at 9, she met with Kang Minho. The meetings were professional, focused. But sometimes, in the gaps between business discussions, something else emerged. You look exhausted, Kang Minho observed during their 3rd meeting. I'm fine, sir. You're running on 4 hours of sleep. He set down his cup. Delegate more. You don't have to control every detail personally. I want it to be perfect. It will be. But only if you don't burn out before launch. He paused. When did you last take a day off? Chinma tried to remember and couldn't. I'm not sure. Take Sunday. Don't come to the office. Don't check email. Sir, I really should. That's not a suggestion, Ms. Okafor. His tone left no room for argument. During their 5th meeting, Kang Minho surprised her by asking about her grandmother. You said she taught you to see the world through others' eyes, he said. How? She used to make me describe what I saw, but then imagine how it would look to someone else. A child. An elderly person. Someone from a different country. She said empathy was a skill you could practice. Wise woman. She was. Chinma smiled softly. She would have liked you, I think. Kang Minho's eyebrow rose. Why? Because you're like her. You see things other people miss. You notice when someone's struggling. You help without making it obvious. I don't. You sent me food when I was working late. You coached me for the board meeting. You've been protecting me from executive politics. Chinma met his gaze. You pretend to be Ice, but you're not. Kang Minho was quiet for a long moment. Your grandmother sounds like she raised you well. She did. I miss her every day. She'd be proud of you, Kang Minho said softly. This campaign. It's exactly the kind of work she taught you to create. Chinma's eyes filled with unexpected tears. Thank you, sir. That means more than you know. The campaign launched on a Tuesday morning across every major platform in Korea. Chinma stood in Quantum's war room, surrounded by monitors showing real-time engagement data. Within the first hour, the campaign had generated more social media conversation than Quantum's previous 3 campaigns combined. By evening, "What if tomorrow started today" was trending. But it was the personal messages that made Chinma cry. An elderly man posted a photo of himself video chatting with his son in America. A mother shared a video of her daughter using assistive technology to communicate for the first time. Thousands of people sharing their own moments of connection. Ms. Okafor. Kang Minho's assistant appeared. CEO Kang would like to see you. When she entered his office, he was standing at the window. Sir? You wanted to see me? Kang Minho turned, and Chinma stopped breathing. He was smiling. A real smile, genuine and warm. It's extraordinary, he said. What you've created. Relief flooded through her. The engagement numbers are beyond projections. I'm not talking about the numbers. He gestured to his computer screen, showing the social media feeds. This is a 78-year-old man who learned to use video chat because of your campaign. He's seeing his great-grandchildren for the first time. This is what you created, Chinma. Not just a successful campaign. You gave people permission to connect. It was the first time he'd used her first name. I just wanted to show them what was possible, Chinma said quietly. You did more than that. Kang Minho was standing close now. You reminded me why this matters. Why any of this matters. Sir. Minho. He smiled slightly. When it's just us, you can call me Minho. Minho. Chinma tested the name. I should get back. There's a gala this Saturday. A charity event for education technology. I'm expected to attend. He met her gaze directly. I'd like you to come with me. As my guest? Chinma's breath caught. As your guest? Yes. His usual confidence seemed to waver. If you're uncomfortable, I understand. I'd love to go, Chinma interrupted. His smile returned, softer this time. Good. Saturday arrived wrapped in nervous anticipation. The gala was held at one of Daegu's most prestigious hotels. When Chinma stepped out of the car in her emerald green dress, Kang Minho was waiting. He looked devastating in a black tuxedo. But when he saw her, his expression softened into something private, meant only for her. You're beautiful, he said simply, offering his arm. Throughout the evening, Kang Minho kept her close, his hand on her back, introducing her with pride. This is Chinma Okafor, the brilliant mind behind Quantum's latest campaign. After dinner, he led her to the terrace. Daegu sprawled below them, a galaxy of lights. Music drifted from the ballroom. Dance with me, Kang Minho said. Chinma stepped into his arms, and the world narrowed to just them. His hand settled on her waist, warm through the silk of her dress. Everyone's watching us, Chinma whispered. Let them watch. His voice was low, intimate. I've spent 10 years being what everyone expected. The ruthless CEO. The ice-cold businessman. I'm tired of performing for them. What do you want to be instead? His hand tightened on her waist. Someone real. Someone who can admit that he looks forward to Monday mornings because it means seeing you. Someone who hasn't been able to stop thinking about you since the moment you defended Mrs. Choi's story. Chinma's heart thundered. Minho, I know this is complicated. I'm your boss. But Chinma, I haven't felt this way about anyone. Ever. You walked into my life and reminded me that success without connection is just loneliness dressed in expensive suits. The articles about you say you've never been in love. That you're not capable of it. I wasn't, Kang Minho admitted. After my father died when I was 17, I decided it was safer to never let anyone that close. His thumb traced small circles on her waist. Then you happened. You with your impossible empathy and your refusal to see me as the Ice Prince everyone else sees. I see you, Chinma whispered. The real you. Chinma, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to date or be romantic. But I want to try. With you. If you'll have me. You're asking me to date you? I'm asking you to take a chance on someone who's never taken chances with his heart before. His hand cupped her face. I'm asking you to teach me how to be someone worthy of yours. You already are worthy. Is that a yes? That's a yes. Kang Minho smiled, and then slowly, he leaned down and kissed her. It was soft at first, tentative. But when Chinma's arms wound around his neck, the kiss deepened into something that made her dizzy. He kissed her like she was precious, like she was the answer to a question he'd been asking his entire life. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that since you defended your campaign to Chairman Huang, he admitted. You hid it well. I've had a lot of practice hiding what I feel. He pulled back slightly. But not anymore. Not with you. The next 3 months were a careful dance of professional propriety and private passion. At work, they were CEO and marketing executive. But in private, they were simply Minho and Chinma. He took her to quiet restaurants where they wouldn't be recognized. They walked through parks at dawn. He taught her to appreciate Korean classical music, and she introduced him to Nigerian jollof rice. Slowly, Minho opened up about his past. About losing his father young, building Quantum from nothing, the lonely years when success came at the cost of connection. I used to think being alone made me strong, he told her one evening. Now I realize it just made me cold. You're not cold, Chinma said. You're careful. There's a difference. But keeping their relationship secret was harder than expected. At work, colleagues noticed how Kang Minho's expression softened when she entered a room. The Ice Prince was melting. The real crisis came during a quarterly board meeting when Chairman Huang made an unexpected announcement. "I'm proposing we bring in a new chief marketing officer," Huang said. "Someone with more experience. Miss Okafor has done excellent work, but she's still junior." Chinma felt her stomach drop. Across the table, Kang Minho's expression went glacial. "With respect, Chairman Huang," Minho said, his voice dangerously soft, "Miss Okafor's campaign generated a 40% increase in market share." "What metric of success are you using?" "Experience," Huang countered. "And in that time, she's accomplished more than our previous director did in 5 years." Minho leaned forward. "If you're concerned, I suggest you review the data." Another board member interjected carefully. "We're not questioning Miss Okafor's talent. But there are concerns about the appearance of favoritism." The word hung in the air like poison. Favoritism. Minho's voice could have frozen fire. "Are you suggesting I promote people based on anything other than merit?" "Your closeness to Miss Okafor has been noted. People are talking. Then people need to focus on their work instead of gossiping." Minho stood. "Miss Okafor earned her position through brilliant work. If anyone suggests otherwise, I'll consider it slander. Are we clear?" Silence. "This meeting is adjourned." After, Chinma went straight to Minho's office. "We need to talk," she said. Minho was standing at his window, rigid. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have lost my temper. They think I'm sleeping my way to the top. They're idiots." "Minho, they have a point." Chinma forced the words out. "You promoted me. You approved my campaign. They see a junior assistant who became an executive in less than a year. Because you earned it. But they don't know that. They see us at galas together. They see the way you look at me. How do I look at you? Like I'm the only person in the room." Minho crossed to her. "You are the only person in the room. Always. I can't have my work questioned because of us. Everything I've built becomes suspect." "What do you need?" he asked. "I need to know that I deserve this. That I'm not just here because you care about me. You deserve every opportunity you've been given." He pulled her into his arms. "But if you need proof, we'll get it." "How?" "Let me make some calls." 2 weeks later, Chinma received an invitation. Samsung wanted to interview her for their head of global marketing position. "Did you do this?" she asked Minho in their Monday meeting. "Yes." He met her gaze steadily. "You said you needed to know you deserve your success. Samsung is our competitor. I have no influence there. If they want you, it's because you're that good. You're trying to get me hired away? I'm trying to show you that your talent isn't dependent on me." He paused. "If you take the job, I'll miss you every day. But I'll also be proud of you. That's what love means, Chinma. Wanting what's best for you, even if it costs me something. You love me. Desperately. Completely. I have since the moment you defended Mrs. Choi's story. I just didn't know how to say it. Say it now." Minho cupped her face. "I love you, Chinma Okafor. You've taught me that having a heart isn't a weakness. You've made me want to be better. You've made me feel things I thought I was incapable of feeling." "I love you too," Chinma whispered. The Samsung interview was intense. 3 hours with their executive team. But Chinma was brilliant, and she knew it. The offer came 2 days later. Head of Global Marketing. 50% salary increase. Prestige, power, and proof that her success was hers alone. Chinma stared at the offer letter, hands shaking. She could take it. Prove to everyone she'd earned her success. Or she could stay at Quantum. Keep building something she believed in. Work alongside the man she loved. That evening, she went to Minho's apartment. "You got the offer," he said, seeing her face. "I got the offer. And? It's an incredible opportunity. Everything I should want. But it's not what I do want." Chinma took his hand. "I want to stay at Quantum. Not because of you, although that's a bonus. But because I believe in what we're building. There's more work to do, more stories to tell." "You're turning down Samsung?" "I don't need to prove anything," she interrupted. "Not to Chairman Huang, not to the board, not to anyone. I know my worth. I know I've earned my position. If other people can't see that, that's their problem, not mine." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." Chinma moved closer. "But I need you to do something for me. Anything. Stop hiding us. I don't want to sneak around anymore. I want to hold your hand at company events and tell people that yes, I'm dating CEO Kang, and no, that doesn't diminish my accomplishments. Minho pulled her against him. Are you sure? There will be talk. Let them talk. I know the truth. You know the truth. That's enough. You're remarkable, Minho murmured, kissing her. Have I mentioned that lately? Not in the last 5 minutes. He laughed. Chinma Okafor, you're remarkable, brilliant, brave. I get it. She was laughing too. I don't think you do. His expression turned serious. You walked into my life when I'd convinced myself that success was enough. You proved me wrong about everything. You didn't enchant me, Chinma. You awakened me. They said you couldn't fall in love. They were right. I couldn't. Until you. The official announcement came at the next company meeting. Kang Minho stood before Quantum's assembled employees. I have 2 announcements. First, Chinma Okafor has declined an offer from Samsung Electronics to remain as Quantum's head of global marketing. Applause rippled through the room. Second, Minho continued, his gaze finding hers across the crowd. I want to address rumors. Yes, Miss Okafor and I are in a personal relationship. Yes, I promoted her. But every decision I made regarding her career was based solely on her exceptional work. Samsung tried to hire her away. Those facts speak for themselves. He paused. I've built this company on merit, not favoritism. Miss Okafor earned every opportunity she's received. That she's also the woman I love doesn't change that. It just makes me exceptionally lucky. The room went silent. Then someone started clapping. Miss Park, tears in her eyes. Others joined in, and soon the entire room was applauding. That evening, Minho took her to dinner at one of Daegu's most popular spots where they'd definitely be seen. Are you sure about this? Chinma asked. Completely. Minho reached across the table and took her hand. I'm done hiding. I want everyone to know that Kang Minho fell completely and irrevocably in love. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Chinma's breath stopped. I know this is fast, Minho said. But Chinma, I've spent my entire adult life being certain about business and uncertain about everything else. You're the first thing I've ever been completely certain about. You're my home. My connection. My tomorrow starting today. He opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring. Marry me, Minho said. Be my partner in everything. Build Quantum with me. Build a life with me. Tears streamed down Chinma's face. You already are the man who deserves me. You've been that man since you listened to a terrified assistant instead of dismissing her. Is that a yes? That's a yes. Yes to everything. Minho slid the ring onto her finger, then stood and kissed her right there in the middle of the restaurant. Around them, people gasped and took photos, but neither of them cared. The Ice Prince of Daegu was melting and the whole world was watching. 6 months later, Chinma stood in her office reviewing campaign proposals. Quantum had launched 3 more major initiatives, each building on the foundation she'd established. Busy? Minho appeared in her doorway. Always. You know how demanding my boss is. Sounds like a terrible person. He crossed to her and pulled her into his arms. How's my brilliant fiancé? Exhausted, caffeinated, and happy. They were getting married in 3 months. Chinma's family was flying in from Nigeria, and Minho's mother was helping plan everything. I have something for you, Minho said, pulling out an envelope. Inside was the photograph of young Minho at the library computer, his face illuminated by wonder. I had it framed, he said. For your office. A reminder that every innovation starts with someone seeing possibility. Chinma felt tears prick her eyes. I love it. I love you. I love you more. Impossible. I love you most. Are we really going to argue about this? Every day for the rest of our lives. He kissed her, and Chinma thought about the journey that brought them here. From cold coffee and a terrifying meeting to this, a partnership built on mutual respect, genuine love, and the courage to be vulnerable. They said Kang Minho couldn't fall in love. That the Ice Prince would never let anyone close. They were wrong. He didn't just fall in love. He built a life around it, with a woman who saw past his armor to the heart underneath. A woman who taught him that connection wasn't weakness, but the greatest strength of all. And Chinma? She'd come to Korea looking for her grandmother's homeland. Instead, she found her own home in the most unexpected place, in the arms of a man everyone said was incapable of love, who turned out to be capable of the deepest love of all. We've reached the end of this beautiful journey, besties. If you enjoyed this story of the Ice Prince learning to love, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps stories like this coming. What was your favorite moment? Drop a comment below. Until next time, keep believing in love that transforms.